In previous lessons, I've only talked about ghosting a single note in a group of notes. In this one, I'm going to talk about ghosting pairs of notes and non-attacks. What happens after that second ghosted note is very important too. Ghosting a pair of notes is just like it sounds. You leave your tongue on the reed and more than one pitch plays through. In the examples that I'm going to give, I'm going to use this articulation for chromatic approaches from a half step below or 2 half steps below, depending. I'm going to give an example of when to ghost a pair of notes and attack the note afterward, right here. I'm going through a G major arpeggio, approaching each pitch of that arpeggio from a step above in the key, going into that pitch, and then ghosting a half step below and back into that pitch. Both the lower chromatic neighbor tone and the pitch I'm leading back into are ghosted. So D, D, N. Which you've probably heard on records from the 40s and 50s, saxophone players and swing musicians especially, doing that kind of thing. And this one. To go through the scale like this, ascending. As you come down the scale, you'll have to repeat a note. It's a little bit more complicated to coordinate. It sounds like this. Now there are times when you ghost a pair of notes and the note immediately after is not articulated at all. So you're going from a ghosted sound where your tongue is on the reed to just taking your tongue off the reed. It's very slight, very subtle, but it creates a different kind of groove, a different sensibility when you hear it. This is almost always used when approaching a note from 2 half steps below. Like if you're resolving to the 3rd of a major chord or the 5th of a minor chord or the 3rd of a dominant 7th chord. You could hear it in the context of this line. I'm going, I'm not tonguing that note, I'm just taking my tongue from a ghosted position to a non-ghosted position. So it's kind of like I'm saying knee, dee, knee. Now you could also attack that note, be very obvious about that attack. It creates a break in the flow. Here's an example of a quick 2-5-1 using a combination. So after the first double chromatic approach, I'm not going to tongue. After the second one, I am going to tongue. Dee, 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 dee. Now you could take that same quick 2-5 and play it through all the keys if you're feeling ambitious. Dee, 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 dee. So that 2-5 shape is fun. It's not the hippest thing, but it does highlight a very blatant example of when you could use this ghosting pairs of notes technique, and one that's very commonly used in bebop, swing, jazz playing. Now, synthetic pattern. This is an infinite synthetic cycle that you can practice, and it will help you with enclosing thirds and fifths of various chords you may be resolving to. Now the first shape that I'm playing is C, F sharp, or G flat, E flat, E, F. You could think of this either as leading from an A flat 7 into a D flat major chord, Or you could think of it as an F7 flat 9 leading into a B flat minor chord. Anyway, so practicing this cycle gets this in your mind, coordinates the fingers with the tongue, with the ear, and understanding this option that's commonly used by jazz players of ghosting those two notes that chromatically lead up to a target tone. So there you have it, how you can ghost pairs of notes, and we're getting into non-attacks. That is not re-attacking the note after a ghosted note, simply taking your tongue off the reed. I hope you find this helpful. Please subscribe. There's also a link where you can donate, and you can check out my blog. I've got way more comprehensive stuff written out. Your feedback is super appreciated, and thank you for watching. I'm Jake Dester. I'll see you later.